You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
Hello, very good evening to you and welcome to the Scottish Football Zone on a busy weekend, by the way, because we've got the Scottish Cup action, quarterfinals, and we've got a small matter of a Premiership game tomorrow up at Dens Park, and also we've got the Championship games to look forward to. So who else to look forward to them with than a big and exciting lineup of and a new signing? Of course, a loan signing is still opened, Robbie. So we've actually went into the market and bought and brought a new kind of signing on board. Maybe until the end of the show. Depends how he feels it enough. I've locked the door. He's not getting out until he says yes. He wants to be on the team. But anyway, so Robbie, I'm not talking about you, but how are you?
I'm doing very well, Michael. It's going to be some weekend action. Obviously, the weather outside looks very, very good as well. So hopefully that continues over the weekend and hopefully get some cracker cup games. That's what it's all about. Obviously, we can't forget the league. We've got Motherwell who are still in with an outside shout of this title. So they'll be hoping they can travel to Dundee and pick up 3 points as well. But we've done a Celtic, Michael. We've made a wee loan signing in the window, no spending money just yet. We'll wait until the end of the season and there's maybe something in the contract with an obligation to buy. But delighted to be here. Should be a good show.
I think the difference is, Robbie, Celtic has got lots of money. We've got nothing. So that's our excuse and we're sticking to it, right? So yeah, I'm delighted to see, and probably you've seen him on TikTok. He's a household name on there. Charlie Knox, welcome to the show. Charlie, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Thank you very much for having me on again. And yeah, just excited to be here, and hopefully Aberdeen get not 3 points. Hopefully Aberdeen get into the next round of the cup.
Yep, we will be joined by Reagan because he's always he's always late coming on the show, Robbie. I think he wants a big kind of like entrance into the show, you know, like he wants everybody there and rocks Reagan about half an hour onto the show. But anyway, yeah, so we'll be joined by Reagan as always. Get your comment coming in. We're on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram as well. Looking to the games as well. And also on Sunday, me and Robbie will be back for the night shift on Sunday night, looking back at the games and giving you the Scottish Cup semi-final draw, so we'll be on about 9:30 on Sunday night. So yeah, so look out for that one. Anyway, let's kick off. And Robbie, we has got a question for us to kick off the weekend. So if you're commenting, put your answer in the chat, and I think we will tell you the answer before we go off here, because that would be a bit cruel not to tell you an answer. Yes, it is. So Robbie, have you got one there?
Aye, so I've actually got 3, Mike. I've got 3 guest players again. Just like we done on Wednesday night. Okay. Obviously last time you each get one right, so let's hope we can keep that trend going. Charlie, basically the way this works is I'm going to read out a football player's career path, start to finish, give you the years that he played with each club, tell you his goal record in that time. If one's became a manager, I'll also tell you about the managerial career. This week's trend is obviously the Scottish Cup. So I've gave you players that are still playing, players that have played with teams that are still in the cup competition. Obviously the quarter-final, so you've got a few clubs there. So we'll go with the first one, which I think will be the easiest. This player started his career in 2017 where he played with Norwich for a year. He didn't get any appearances and didn't score any goals, so bit of a tough start.
Okay. Yeah, so any guesses on now, Charlie, or?
No, not really. No, really.
No,
I'm going to be absolutely rotten at this, but no.
Yeah. No, me too. Yeah, Norwich, but yeah, there you go. Okay, so and then we'll be looking for your update of the weekend then. So get your predictions into us and we'll read them out on the show. So let's kick off tonight with the
Michael, do you
quarterfinal
know
weekend. Hmm?
do you know what the rest of the teams in it? And then we can do a second one a bit later on the show. And then we can wrap up
Right,
with the
okay,
third one.
yeah. I thought it was Norwich and that was it. But yeah, okay.
No, so in 2018, he moved to Rangers, where he spent 4 years at the Glasgow club, making 15 appearances, scoring 2 goals.
Oh,
He spent 4 years there.
Yeah, and I will say in that time, he had 4 loan spells
Jesus.
at Hibs, Bradford, and 2
Yeah.
at St Johnstone.
I'm not going to give away an answer now, right? But is they at a certain championship club at the moment in Scotland?
He is not, Michael, no.
Okay, maybe not then. I won't give you that answer. So I would be totally off the mark. Yep, and is that all your closing now, or have you got one more?
No, I'm happy for you to shout out who this player is right now. Then we can do the second one later on the show. Then we'll get the third one near the end. So, any guesses right now as to who this could be?
I'm not. I'm completely lost right now. To be fair.
Steve, I was gonna. It's just a random guess, but I know I'm going to be wrong already. But who cares? It's Friday night. Stephen Whittaker.
It's no Stephen Whittaker like the guest though, Michael. I think the key thing to focus on here is probably the double loans at St Johnstone. That was between 2021 and 2022, where of course St Johnstone in that time won the Scottish Cup, so he's a Scottish Cup winner in Scotland.
He played for Rangers, can you say as well?
Yeah, played with Rangers.
Yeah. Okay. Can I have a horrible guess at this? And I can't remember his name. Is it over in Ireland at the moment?
He is not over at Ireland at the moment.
Yeah, okay. I'm
But-
wide of the mark.
The rest of the clues. In 2022, he transferred to Dundee United, where he spent 3 seasons at the Tangerines, rated him up 94 appearances, scoring 8 goals. I'm getting a bit worried because this is maybe the easiest one on the list so far. If there's still no clue, I can tell you that right now he plays with Doncaster Rovers in England. He's currently got 24 appearances, only scoring 1 goal.
I'm never getting this.
Yeah, that's going to help me, Robbie.
You really want to zoom in on his double stint on loan at St Johnstone. That's probably his most successful spell, I'd say. Of course, as I said, actually, I said Scottish Cup. He won the League Cup as well with them. So he's won a cup double. Obviously played by Rangers, Hibs, St Johnstone, Dundee United, and Scotland.
That's got me there.
You might have already said this, but when did he play for Hibs? What?
He played with Hibs. This was 2019. He moved on loan to Hibs.
That's no help at all.
I can tell you, he's only ever reached Scotland under 21 level, where he made 22 appearances, scoring 5 goals.
Do you ever want to just say somebody, just his answer? No.
Owen's in the chat. He thinks he knows it.
I think.
Welcome on.
Well, let us know.
I put it in the comments. I'll tell you if you're right.
I don't know. Dundee United.
I'm a bit worried for the rest of the show. That's right with the other two I've got.
I've been worried all season, Robbie. Yeah.
You managed to get. Who was it on last show? I literally just read him out as well. The guy that played with Martin in Newcastle. Mark McGee. You managed to get Mark McGee on last show, to be fair.
Yeah, I know.
I can give you the position. He's a winger. And Owen is right. Bang on the money. It is Glenn Middleton.
Oh my god!
Right.
I never knew he played for Hibs.
Yeah, loan spell Hibs.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a great chip. Oh my god, that's a good. Oh, Aye, because he's done well at Dundee United. Ah,
But aye, that's your first one. We'll give you the second one a bit later on the show.
Um,
wait.
okay, back to some easy things to talk about this weekend. Yeah, I need to see the doctor after this because I'm a bit stressed out now. And the football's not even started. The first game up tonight is Falkirk against Dundee United. There we go. Yeah, it's brilliant to see Charlie on the show. Well deserved, and that's from Charlie's best pal as well. No, it's from Graham. Graham, thanks for watching, mate.
Thank you very much, Graham.
As well. By the way, Charlie's from it's good in Edinburgh, but he supports Aberdeen, so I thought we'd just tell you that, Graham, because I know you're a big Jambo yourself. I say Jambo there, by the way. Never say against now. Falkirk against Dundee United tonight in the Scottish Cup quarter final. Robbie, what are you hoping for in this game?
Aye, well, as you know, Michael, my prediction at the start of the season was Dundee United to win the cup. So if they're going to go on and actually do it, they're going to need to go through a pretty tough opponent in Falkirk, who obviously picked up a pretty astonishing 5-1 win at Kilmarnock, where you've got to say it could have been 10 with the way the highlights are seen anyway. Suggested it could have been a lot more than just 5. You're starting to get the point now where, Michael, John McGlynn's in serious contention for this manager of the year. He's phenomenal the way he sets his team up. They're so brave. It took a while to kick in when the season first started, and you probably argue they're a bit like Motherwell in the sense that at the start of the season, if they weren't losing so many games or drawing so many games, they'd probably be higher than they are right now. But they've got themselves a brilliant opportunity to get through to Hampden against a Dundee United team that, by all means, they're not anywhere near relegation, but they're not playing brilliant stuff either. Get 2 goals absolutely gifted to them on Tuesday night against us. That's not me discrediting them, by the way. They thoroughly deserved to beat us early 90, and they did. But you just felt it was a bit easier. So coming into this game, I suspect it'll be a tougher challenge away at Falkirk. I'm assuming it'll be nearly sold out, probably for both ends, to be honest. I think both teams will be up for it. You're 90 minutes away for getting to Hampden, which, as we know, for teams the stature of Falkirk, Dundee United, St Mirren, all the rest of them, doesn't come around too often. So both teams will want it as much as each other. And Michael, what we're hoping for here is just a good cup tie. You don't want it to be boring. You don't want extra time and penalties 0-0 and all the rest of it. You want some real good goals. 2 teams going at each other, showing no fear. And I think we will get that, to be honest. It's a perfect Friday night game to kick off your weekend.
Charlie, looking forward to this one. It should be a full house at the Falkirk Stadium under the lights and all the rest of it. But I think what makes cup football very special is you've got to win on the night, whether that goes to extra time, penalties, and all the rest of it. But it makes it different from a kind of normal league game.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game, to be fair. I think it'll be an absolute cracker. I think Falkirk have been brilliant this season. As Robbie said, obviously it took a little bit time for them to kick on, but once it's kind of clicked, it's just been fantastic. And even the football they play has been brilliant. And look, and that's not always how John McGlynn played his football as well. When he was starting out in managerial football, it was a lot different. And then I think after he went to Celtic for a bit, learning under Brendan Rodgers, he's changed his football, and Falkirk are playing absolutely fantastic. I do think they'll win tonight.
Charlie, do you sort of look at both teams and the sort of season Dundee United had last year when they came straight back up? They're sort of similar. I mean, are you seeing John McGlynn as a potential manager of the year?
It definitely has to be up there, especially if they can steal 5th off Hibs as well. But even if not, he definitely should be up there. They go from the Championship, come up the way they did as well, obviously coming all the way from League One. Some of the players are still there from League One as well. To go into the Premiership and done what they've done. If they go to Hampden, he's definitely up there as well.
Of course, John McGlynn was talking about the game today at his pre-match press conference, Robbie. He said, we cannot wait for this game. It's a good opportunity to get us to a semi-final. And Yeah, Falkirk's did well, kind of like this season already. Especially at home, you know what you're going to get with Falkirk. It's a bit like Marwell, Robbie. It's like they haven't got one or two players that stand out. They've got about 5 or 6 players.
Aye, Falkirk squad's heavily stacked, and I think we sort of go back to January when they obviously lost Arfield to Livingston. We're sort of saying to different Falkirk fans at the time, you sure that's such a smart idea? That's a really big influential player, but again, he wasn't really playing, and I think that just shows the sort of depth that Falkirk have. And just on Graham's comment, you still need to win the league. It's nowhere yet. So just be careful. But no, you're right, Michael. Falkirk have a really, really good squad. Barney Stewart's obviously getting most of the headlines right now for the incredible story that he's went through to get to where he is. But it's just a superb squad. I mean, you're literally starting goals. You go with Scott Bain. Scott Bain now, for me, is in contention to go to the World Cup with Scotland. And I wouldn't have said that when he was at Celtic, to be honest. But he's went to Falkirk and he's having a absolutely blinder season. So, I think, to be honest with you, Michael, it's two really good stacked teams. Falkirk and Dundee United have both got real quality in different positions. Both got overall good squads, and that's what I think makes it a really fascinating cup tie.
Charlie, Jim Goodwin was talking about the game as well. He says it's going to be a difficult game. Falkirk is a good team. It should be a very open game, but we need to focus on ourselves as well. And that's the thing, because you don't want it to be kind of like too open as well if you were a Dundee United fan or a Falkirk fan. But at the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, this is a game. We're only one game away from the semi-final at Hampden.
Yeah, look, Dundee United will have to go in there and try to be as confident as possible, and I think they will. Look, they'll still think they can get a result out of this, of course, because they've got some talented players. As much as it's not been the best season for Dundee United, especially. Look, the injuries have played a part, especially at the start of the season. They've took a part, but obviously, I just don't see Dundee United being able to win this. I just think they're too inconsistent for me, and I just think Falkirk will get it done.
That's the difference between the top six and the bottom six this season. I think consistency. You look at Aberdeen, you look at Dundee United, you even look at Dundee at times. They're very, very inconsistent, which sort of separates them for your likes of Falkirks and Motherwells and Hibs. They've just built that bit more consistency. But look, again, it's a cup tie, in it. It's a 1-1. Really, anything can happen in any of the games. It's going to be an interesting game for a Friday night as well. I suspect both teams will go really strong for this. I think both teams want to get to Hampden as badly as one another. I mean, especially Dundee United, they've got nothing left to play for now. They're not going to get in the top six. Fling everything you've got at the Scottish Cup, and that's why I think there will be a lot of goals tonight. I think you'll see both teams really just pushing to go for it.
See, I think that's the difference, guys. The difference where teams come up and you're thinking, well, what are they going to bring to the party? Are they going to bring good attacking football? Are they going to bring a big fan base as well? But I mean, compare that to Livingston last season. Livingston has not brought any of that this season, and for me, that they're already away, Charlie. But I mean, Falkirk are completely different because they've got a manager that's been about Scottish football for his whole career. You would say he managed to get Hearts. He was at Celtic as well, in the background scouting, working under Brendan Rodgers. He's got a brilliant team as well, Falkirk, and a brilliant fan base.
Yeah, once again, I think he's came on a lot as well since he kind of was at Celtic. The football is genuinely a joy to watch. I think I think Motherwell kind of slightly took that away from Falkirk this season, because I think you can't argue Motherwell played the best football in the league this season. They've been an absolute joy to watch. But sometimes when you look at Falkirk as well, they're maybe just on par with them. I just think the football's amazing. They're a great watch, and look, a massive one at the weekend. Well, 5-1 as well. It was just. They are an absolute cracking side to watch.
I wonder if another team's ever come up for the Championship and won 5-1 against a Premiership team in the league. I don't imagine it happens too often, to be honest.
No.
I'd be interested to know the last time a Championship team came up, finished in top six and get more wins and losses, because Falkirk are currently sitting on 12 wins, 6 draws and 11 losses. And I'd love to know when the last time was before them and Dundee United, to be honest with you, that happened. That both came up, Michael, as you said, both of them showing absolutely no fear, playing decent stuff at times. I think Jim Goodwin's tactics slightly vary toward, they're slightly more defensive than John McGlynn's, I'd say. And I think you'll probably see that. I think Falkirk will have more of the ball tonight. But again, they both sort of play each other out. So it's going to be a real fascinating tie. And I think you could probably say that about all the cup games this weekend as well.
Yeah, so we'll bring you the team news about 6:45 just before we go off air. Robbie will keep his eye over the team news at the Falkirk game as well. So, okay, guys, I'm going to be honest with you there, because I was saying shock of the round, right? And I mentioned to you guys before we went on air, and you said to me, "Would it be a bit of a shock at the weekend?" I mean, we're running out of teams to say that the shock of the weekend, because all the kind of weird teams are kind of like out the cup basically. So it's left to the big boys, and baby, I'm not putting Packet Thistle into that category because they're a big club, and they're doing well this season. Up until St Mirren beats them on Sunday, I'm just going to keep Robbie on side for the show on Sunday night. So I'm going to go for a Falkirk win, Robbie, to go through the semi-finals.
Yeah, I think Falkirk are definitely the favourites, ever so slightly, just with the home advantage. But I need to stick with the team I predicted to win the cup, so I'm going to go away one for Dundee United. I think they take it on penalties.
I'm going to go with Falkirk as well.
Falkirk's definitely the safe bet. I think with this game, they are just playing out of their skin right now. But Michael, I noticed you said that about Thistle when Reagan wasn't on the show. I wonder how you feel about that one.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's okay. I can handle Reagan. That's fine. Yeah. So that's the first game of the weekend. Then Falkirk against Dundee United. Let's speak about Charlie's team. Their way to confirming tomorrow night at East End Park. And I was saying to the guys, I've never been to confirming on a Saturday night at 7:30. I wonder what it feels like. I wonder if it's got any nightlife or. So I'm looking forward to this game as well. Charlie, you won't be able to. You're not going along to the game, but what are you expecting? A kind of disappointing season for Aberdeen, you would say?
Yeah, it very much has. I think there's been players we brought in the summer. For example, you've got your likes of Carlson, who isn't Aberdeen anymore, but even someone like Stuart Armstrong, who came in the summer, you expected so much more than what he has offered. It has been disappointing. Look, there's been different factors. The European football always plays a part with whoever finishes third, or in our case, whoever wins the cup. That plays a massive part playing first on Sunday. A lot of clubs can't handle it, but I think there's been, even since we got back from when we've finished with the European football, I've not seen much of a change. I actually think we probably played better beforehand. I think obviously with the whole managerial change as well, which I wasn't too much a fan of, and I still am a fan of it. But yeah, I'm not too confident for tomorrow night. Obviously hoping for an Aberdeen win, but yeah, I'm not too confident.
Charlie, I think we sort of got your thoughts there on Peter Levine, but I want to ask you about the sort of higher up and Dave Cormack specifically. Is it getting to the point now? Because we all think, we're just outsiders looking in, but we all seem to think if Dave Cormack doesn't get the next appointment right, and his record of transfers recently has been horrendous for what you're sort of excited to see and what you actually get. Do you think if the next managerial appointment doesn't work for Dave, we might need to step in?
I do like Dave. I like Cormac. I think he's a genuinely look. It's always great when an owner actually cares about the club, and he obviously does. We've obviously just brought Darren Mowbray back to the club, which is a fantastic appointment. Who brought in so many good players, for example, Mioski, Duke, Ramadani, just to name a few really, really good signings. Bringing him back to the club's a really, really positive thing. Bringing Lutz Van Steel, amazing appointment as well. I think there's some really good hierarchy in the club. For me, I think Dave Cormack, maybe at times the team hasn't been great, but if we're going to talk in a business perspective, he's made Aberdeen Football Club a better club. We're better run. We've increased, obviously, attendance. He likes to speak about that quite a lot, but there's attendance increased at the club. There's loads of, obviously, the money is obviously a great thing as well. We haven't obviously always spent the money wisely, but for me, nah, I think I do really like Dave Cormack. I think he's really top. So for me, I can understand why Aberdeen fans don't particularly like him, but for me, I would disagree with that.
I think the biggest thing for the outsiders' point of view, Charlie, is where Aberdeen are sitting. You know, I think majority of Aberdeen fans like to think they're the third biggest club in the country, and I think historically I would agree, but you've got to look at it last maybe 3 or 4 years, and you probably wouldn't put them in the top three, to be honest, just with the way the season's about.
Yeah, I actually made a video on TikTok about this. I don't think I've seen Aberdeen being really, really good since 22-23, where we finished third that season, and that was still a season where loads of ups and downs. We obviously got beat of Darville that season, and the same week got beat of Hearts and Hibs 5 and 6-0. A game that I was at the 6-0 as well, which was an absolute horrible day. Jim Goodwin got sacked. Obviously, come back, it ends up being a really, really good season, but there was lots of ups and downs in that season. For me, that was the last time when I really looked at Aberdeen and thought, right, we're a decent side, especially when Barry Robson came in. But 23-24, poor with the European football. Even last season, I wouldn't have said it was a great season. Look, the Cup's are absolutely brilliant, but at the end of the day, you're wanting to be good in the league as well, as much as winning the Cup as well is a great positive. But the league form is terrible after the first 14 games.
Do you think, see, just gone back quite a few years now, do you think Aberdeen should have kept Jack Ross? Because it's a conversation I have with quite a lot of Aberdeen fans, and a lot of them liked what Ross was doing at the club.
I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think so.
It's fair. It's just a conversation I like having, because Ross, I thought he was good in the Championship. I would have loved to have seen him manage us in the Premiership and sort of see what he could handle there, but he didn't really get that chance at us. And I remember, like, that's the last two managers now, really, before Ron Kearney and after, that ended up at Aberdeen, and both didn't do so well at Aberdeen. So it was just a pretty interesting one.
I've always kind of kept the perspective that we never should have got rid of Derek McInnes. Like, I think when you look at the backing that we showed Jimmy Thielen, he spent lots of money. Look, some of the signings were pretty decent, but you look at some of the signings that were really, really poor as well. That isn't all on him, but you look at the money that obviously Derek was able to spend, and it was nowhere, it was pennies compared to what Jimmy Thielen was allowed to spend. And you look what Derek McInnes actually achieved with Aberdeen as well, a cup, like so many top two finishes as well. We were in Hampden basically every year as well. Look, the football wasn't great, but what do you want them to do when we're bringing players like Stevie May to the club, Curtis Main as well? Like, they're not exactly the highest quality players in the league, but yeah.
Would this be a fair comment to say, Charlie, that Aberdeen's one of these clubs? It's a kind of like sleeping giant in terms of, like, Aberdeen's a big city, one city team, and all the rest of it. They should be really doing more.
Yes, I think sleeping giant's probably the right word, because we've been really, really poor for years now, and I think you're just waiting for that one great appointment to just completely turn us into a great club. And look, every appointment that Aberdeen are going to make, you're going to back, or Aberdeen fans will back them, even if it was someone like a Stephen Robinson, who hasn't been too liked it for the Aberdeen job. But I think Eric Horneland's the kind of main favourite now. I think if he came in, I think he genuinely could turn us into a very, very competitive team, because I think his record's absolutely fantastic as well.
Do you think as well? I know this is in the past what we're talking about, Charlie, right? But do you think if it wasn't for the Scottish Cup success that you had against Celtic last season, Jimmy Turing would have been away kind of like in the back half of last season?
I think the cup definitely helped with how long he was there for. I think if he didn't win, I think even if he didn't win the cup, he would have been given this season. Even I don't think he would have got as long. I think because obviously we went the whole August without winning. I think he could have easily been sacked in October if he hadn't won the cup. But the cup obviously gave him so much kind of credit in the bank, and fair enough, it was rightly so. Winning the cup and the way we did on penalties was a really, really good defensive game. But beforehand, it just wasn't there consistently. We were off and off, hot and cold, as you should say. And yeah, look, I really like the guy, and I think we should have probably kept him till the end of the season and then kind of looked at it further. But I can understand why Aberdeen fans wanted him gone as well.
I've just realised that as the show went on, Charlie, you must have been so confused there. Why did I seem to think Jack Ross had managed Aberdeen? That's never been a thing. He only managed Hibs.
I just kind of went off.
That one, I done a pure you and Cameron moment there where I thought he managed somebody else when they actually didn't. I don't know why that was in my head.
I just kind of went along with it.
I do apologise. I don't know where I got that for, to be honest with you. But
I was thinking,
for some reason I thought Jack Ross had managed Hibs in Aberdeen, but he's not.
No, I was thinking that because I was like, Hibs manager, right? But
I don't know.
I think that was a malfunction from both of us, to be fair.
Probably, but no, just on Talene's point, Michael, you know what? I think you're right. I think the Scottish Cup did buy him time, but you're looking back now at how Leaving's got on since he joined the club back as interim, and you probably would have rather kept Talene in that situation. I thought Charlie was probably looking up around, I think it was just after the Rangers game, by the second one, that is, at Batodran. I think he'd won 2 in a row and then lost away at Kilmarnock. And I sort of looked at the 2 in a row and I was like, all right, maybe Living is going to be the guy to take them to the end of the season. And then he's lost 3-0 at Kilmarnock and it's literally just went downhill since then.
Yeah, to be fair, as much as I've given Peter Lever a lot of stick, I actually do like him, and I think he was getting like the Kelly job beforehand, and I wanted him to take that as well. But he's done well in past kind of managerial, interim managerial appointments at Aberdeen. Like he done well when after Neil Warnock came in, actually, funnily enough, and he done well there. I get it was the bottom 6, but at the end of the day, he done well. And I actually thought, right, maybe we could actually finish top 6 with him, but it's not worked out this time.
Well, you're buzzing. See, when Neil officially get confirmed, right? Obviously, it didn't work out great at all by any means, and I think he's away down at Torquay United now, managing down there. But see, when they first got announced at Aberdeen, were you a bit buzzing with the sort of character that Neil is?
I actually was. I thought, oh, we've got an experienced manager in here. This will be good. And then it was, I think his first game was Rangers away. I want to say we lost 1-0 in the night. And I can't remember. He made a weird cut. I think it was something like, I've always liked Rangers and stuff like that. Look, people are always going to say the Rangers Aberdeen rivalry is non-existent. Fair enough, you can say that. It is a big game nonetheless. I feel like that's something you can't argue with. But you just didn't say that if you're coming into your first game as an Aberdeen manager. It's no something you say.
I believe it turned out Ibrox with a blue tie on as well.
That might have been what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Aye, that wouldn't have helped situation.
No,
to be honest,
definitely no help the situation. Kind of just rubbing dirt in the wind there, because I just think you're just no helping yourself at all.
You never forget though that game in Paisley was nuts. Like Aberdeen,
God.
You know what? It's a game where I sort of thought, right, Neil probably will get sacked, right? But Aberdeen deserved to win that game ultimately. We just
it was a fantastic goal at the first minute.
Aye,
Conor Barron just an absolute cracker, and then I can't remember who got was it O'Hara who got the goal for St Mirren?
Yeah, O'Hara scored the penalty in the 95th minute, and then
it was
Aberdeen.
Just a mental game, and fair enough to St Mirren, but after a goal in the first minute and then a goal in the last 2 minutes, it was just a baffling game of football.
I don't think I've ever seen Aberdeen fans that angry, I'll be honest.
I think it was the most Aberdeen game I think I've ever heard of.
So, what are you expecting tomorrow night, Charlie, against Glenfermant in the Scottish Cup? Listen, they're the holders. They're expecting to win and putting up a performance, but it's going to be a difficult game, especially away from home.
Definitely, I think we're just going to have to throw everything at it. It'll be so tough. It'll be a loud game. Dunfermline, there's about 10,000 fans at the game in the morning, so it'll be an absolute cracking atmosphere. It'll be tough. Look, Dunfermline obviously getting that win over Hibs in January. It was a great win for them. It was a great atmosphere at that game as well. Obviously, as a Marine fan, I'm really hoping for a win, and we've kind of just got to throw everything at it because this is our only thing left in the campaign this season, because we're not going to do anything. We can't get top 6 anymore. I don't think we're going to get relegated, so the Cup's the only thing we're really holding out for. And obviously Hearts getting knocked out as well. I get it. Celtic or Rangers will be knocked out on Sunday as well. So there is a chance to really maybe not retain it. I very much would. I'm very much holding out to retain it, but it's probably a decent chance to even get to the final, maybe even.
Robbie, what are you expecting from this game?
I think Charlie pretty much summed it up quite well. Aberdeen need to fling everything at it. It's like Falkirk and Dundee United, really. You know, Aberdeen's, as Charlie mentioned, the season's there, bar this. This is all they've got left to play for now, and you need to fling both barrels at it. You've just be hoping that Aberdeen can get through the line, because you seen what Dunfermline done to a Hibs team that at that time Hibs weren't particularly playing bad stuff. You know, they've not really played bad stuff over the course of the season, but it was one of these upsets that you always get, and you'll be hoping that you can see it through. I mean, look, the way Hibs lost that game with a bad set piece marking, if you can stay solid at the back, which I suppose Charlie's maybe one of Aberdeen's biggest problems this season, then you probably can see the game through. But no doubt, if you're looking at upsets, you're looking either here or again we're going to talk about later in Paisley for any of the cup upsets. So it's one of them where you just need to be careful. But I fancy Aberdeen just to sneak through. I don't think Dunfermline will get any further. But Michael saying that, you know, Dunfermline are having an alright season. They've obviously tailed off a bit sort of since January in the Championship sort of playoff race. But they're playing no bad. They've got a really big experienced manager in there. You know, he's managed just about in every competition you can in Scotland. So Aberdeen will definitely have their work cut out for them.
Good.
Michael, you're on mute, by the way.
See the amount of times I've done that. I've only been doing this for a few years. But anyway, so I'll just reading the notes here. Charlie, I don't know if you saw Peter Leven's press conference today, but he said that we are really looking forward to it. It's a big game. As I said, we're the holders and we want to retain our title, but it's going to be a tough game. Obviously, Dunfermline put Hibs out before, so it'll be a tough game, Charlie.
I actually haven't heard it, but just going on maybe the first bit, I feel like I've heard that in every Aberdeen manager's press conference this season. We want to retain the cup. We're excited to play, and I just feel like I think all Aberdeen fans on Twitter have said this as well. They just need to do that talking on the pitch. I'll believe what they can say off the pitch when they actually do it on the pitch, in my opinion.
Charlie, obviously.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael.
Yep.
No, on you go. No, I was just going to ask Charlie. I've not really seen every Aberdeen game recently, but every sort of time I look on Twitter, I see people saying that Olasanya's been playing a bit more often than no. And I wanted to sort of get your thoughts on him, because obviously he's a very, very fast player. And I think if you utilise him well, he can cause a lot of defensive problems. I was quite impressed actually against Celtic for sort of the first 25 minutes with the front two, and this bit in Olasanya. I thought they worked really well with each other. But do you think he is a player you can utilise? I mean, it almost gives me the type of player that only Robinson really gets the best out of, because it's just a type of player that's structured right around what he likes. But I definitely think if you can use the pace against Dunfermline's back line, you can cause a few problems.
Definitely. Like he's got absolutely lightning pace. I think I when he first came in, I thought, right, he'll be used as kind of what we used Shady Morris for last season, as a super sub. And that's genuinely what I thought he would be used. And I seen him starting, which players are always going to start games when you think they're going to be a super sub, of course. And then I thought off the right, he's more a striker. And he just didn't get involved. I think tracking back was really, really poor for him as well. It was specifically against Motherwell when we lost 2-0 a few weeks back. And Jensen was just getting absolutely rinsed by Lengolo the whole game. And he needed support and he needed to kind of double up. And it was like, Sanya just refused to come back. But I think Tinscoot went up going up front. I think I do like him there. And another thing I got absolutely rinsed on social media for it was saying he'd be a good signing. I think, look, I haven't been his biggest fan so far, because I think in front of goal we can be a bit lackadaisical as well. But he is a good player to have in your squad. He's not the worst player to bring off. Something new off the bench as well when you're kind of struggling in a game. He could be really, really important for tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I mean, asking Olasanya to try and track back, it's like asking, I don't know, Van Dijk to try and play up front. Like, it's just, it's one of these things that genuinely will never work. He's no goat defensive capabilities. And you're right, Olasanya is very much a form player. You know, if he's no high on morale and he's no high on confidence, he's not going to find the back of the net every time. You're right, he is going to be lackadaisical because he plays off of confidence. That's why he done so well at us. So I definitely think players like that, and Nisbet as well. Nisbet will be a really, really useful player in these types of games. You know, if you need one moment of magic, you need somebody to try and finish a good chance, you're going to put Nisbet there and he's probably going to score. So it's the attack is going to be a big thing for Aberdeen, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like I really like this, but to be fair, I think as much as he's not scored as probably as many as he would have liked, I think that's only 8 for the season. I think he's a massively important player for us, and I think not only just his goal scoring ability, which we know he does have, he's done it in the league specifically, but he done it last season. He was a really integral player for us last season, but he's also kind of stepped up his leadership in this spell at Aberdeen as well. I think you can see it in the pitch. He's a massive leader as well, and I do think he's a crucial player for Aberdeen.
I mean that's a good point, Rob. Charlie make probably about like how many weeks have I said this on the show about man looking forward to the game? It's going to be a tough game. We play well. I mean, supporters are not interested in that. All they're doing is getting sound bites out, but they're not interested in that. That all they're interested in is if you cross that white line and if you win the game 1-0. You know, they don't really care about the performance. It's always been about getting either through the semi-final or getting all 3 points. They're not interested about Philip Clement used to say we had 15 shots at goal. But who cares? You still get beat.
Exactly. Sorry, you go on, Robbie.
No, I was just going to say that it'll be frustrating Aberdeen fans. I think, right, you know, Aberdeen have every right to be saying they should be trying to look to retain the cup, right? I get that. But, you know, you're not particularly in any safety or being at that relegation battle yet. You know, there's big anxious focus about when when managers have been saying all season, oh, we hope to try and retain the cup and we hope to be doing this and doing that. You know, focus on trying to keep your side up first. That's obviously the most important thing when you're not playing well. You know, try and build a bit of momentum. Aberdeen are not going into this game with momentum. That's going to hurt them over the course of the game, to be honest with you. You want to be getting into these games playing all right and trying to find the upset. So every wee soundbite, Michael, I think it is just generally what managers say these days. You know, they're always going to come out and say that type of stuff. But, you know, you should try and focus on the league a bit as well, because if you go at them, Charlie, if your Aberdeen side crash out tomorrow night, then it's going to be one bumpy ride for the rest of the season, I think.
Circling back on the whole relegation thing, teams below us have players that have been in relegation battles for years. Aberdeen have maybe not champagne players, is probably not the right phrase, but fancy players. Like I just, Olasany's obviously been, well, not really, because he was actually doing really, really well with St Mirren, but I don't really think you can point out many players that have been in a dogfight, really, where like you've got players like Liam Morrison who's been playing in Bayern Munich, and then obviously QPR, who maybe times have been in relegation battles, but there's players like Stuart Armstrong who you'd expect to kind of step up since playing for Southampton for years as well, who have been in relegation battles. You'd expect someone like him, and he's just, for me, I think you can pinpoint his good game, but you can also pinpoint how many bad games he's had as well. He's had so many bad games in Aberdeen shirt where he's just looked non-existent on the pitch, and I think Aberdeen players definitely need to step up. Look, for me, I've always kind of said this: not all the blame's on the manager. It comes down to the players as well massively. You've got some leaders in the squad that just haven't turned up for me this season.
I'm pretty sure Michael made that point on the show on Wednesday as well about the point completely dropped in my head, but it's just what Charlie was saying there about sort of relegation. You know, you need to let your leaders to step up and stuff like that. And obviously managers get far too much of the stick sometimes, Michael. That was the point. Managers get quite a lot of stick when things are going wrong, and obviously they're always going to be the front line of fire. But as you said, you know, players need to start taking some involvement of blame as well, and so does everybody else. It's a whole team effort, you know. I mean, the manager can set a team up to go out and do things, but if the players don't turn up, you know, they should rightly take some blame as well.
Yeah, no, I've been making this on the show for ages, not for only Aberdeen's sake, but obviously we'll use them because we're talking about the Dons at the moment. But like, you can do all the work Monday to Friday on the training ground, and the managers can do tactical work or whatever. But as soon as you travel cross that white line in Aberdeen's case tomorrow night at 7:30, Charlie, it's up to the team on the park. I mean, the manager can stand there for Skrekig and pull us hair, but I mean, his work's over. It's up to the players to now take that forward.
You said it perfectly there. The players need to just genuinely, as simple as putting it, just need to back up their ideas.
I'm so glad that like you said buck up there, Charlie, as well. What about good a pick we're going to Dunfermline before we predict the score, Robbie? Neil Lennon, that's what Neil Lennon does.
Yeah, as I said, they've got a very experienced manager at their reins, somebody that knows how to win this competition, in Scottish football. He's been there and done it multiple times. He's currently got them fourth in the championship, so they're still in that playoff race, although I do believe the last few weeks form has maybe dipped a bit for them. But, they've defied the odd ones once before putting out Hibs. Why not do it again? I'm sure Charlie will only like me saying that, but if you're looking for a Dunfermline point of view, you're saying why not? Why can we not go and get ourselves a trip to Hampden? I mean, look, everybody loves a trip to Hampden. You're looking at the two cup competitions every year and going, right, if we can get ourselves some good ties, we've got a good chance at Hampden. Even, the Rangers and Celtic fans love a good trip to Hampden. Everybody does it. So it's part of what you play for in this league. Of course you want to finish high up in the league and go on and try and, do other things and all that, but you're looking at the cup competitions and you want Hampden. It's what everybody wants. I've been lucky enough to get it twice this season, Michael, after not seeing it ever in my life, so I know what it's like. You dream of it. So for these Dunfermline players and the Aberdeen fans as well, by the way, both sets of fans will be really looking forward to a potential trip to Hampden here. And obviously Aberdeen, furthermore, trying to regain that cup that they won last season.
Charlie, what's your prediction on this one? I presume it'll be a win. I would be very surprised if it was anything but a win.
Yeah, to be fair, I think there could be an upset. I think Aberdeen could easily get the win tomorrow, so I think there could be an upset there with Aberdeen winning. But yeah, of course, I think I will go with Aberdeen win, and I'm going to go with 2-1. I don't know how much confidence I'm saying that in, but I'll go with 2-1.
Robbie?
Aye, we've just brought Charlie in, but I feel like I'm going to shoot his side in already. I'm going to go for the upset here. I'm going to go for the Pals to sneak it 2-1.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I want Charlie to come back on the show, so I'm going to. I want it easy. I take game 1-0 to Aberdeen. There you go. So that's the game tomorrow night at 7:30. That game's on Premier Sports tomorrow night, I think. So there you go. Another game that you've got to pay to watch. But anyway, let's get. I won't get on my high horse there. I've got lots of pals that work for Premier Sports, so I better not upset them. As well, let's go to Ibrox on Sunday, and it is a bit like Groundhog Day, Robbie. Rangers and Celtic, but this time they meet in the Scottish Cup.
Aye, Michael, it is. I was going to say this is the most fascinating of the bunch, but you're looking at the last three Glasgow derbies and they're all been draws. So if you're a betting man, and please gamble responsibly. If you're a betting man, you're probably going for the draw in this game in extra time. Let's be honest, you're sort of looking at that because it seems to happen every time. Of course, last Sunday was a very interesting tie. Rangers probably should have had the game wrapped up by half time. I think Danny Rowe's been very vocal at his team and Celtic before and after the game that he knows he probably should have had that one up and inevitably knocked Celtic right out the title race for a bit. I think confidence would have been very low coming into this game and the game at Pittodrie, by the way, if Rangers had beaten Celtic at Ibrox. But Celtic dug in, found some really key players. Rio Hitati's always a stick out for that game, and they managed to salvage a point, which Michael, I think, come the end of the season could be a really big one. But this is obviously the cup. This is different. Both teams need silverware. It's as simple as that. You're looking at a potential season right now where one of the teams don't finish with a trophy. Actually, one of the teams probably will not finish with a trophy, to be honest, coming into the season. So you're now looking at a situation where, for Rangers and Celtic, the only potential silverware you might get your hands on this season is the Scottish Cup, which is obviously unacceptable to both sets of fans. I think Celtic and Rangers fans would agree. They might be trying to go for the league every year, but they might need to settle for a Scottish Cup this time because it might be the only trophy they're going to get their hands on. And obviously, Michael, I'm glad, as a neutral point of view, Celtic fans are getting the whole behind the goal back for this game. I think that's going to be an absolute cracking atmosphere at Ibrox. Some of the best goals you've seen scored at Ibrox and Celtic Park have been when you've had fans, the whole sort of group of fans there. I can't remember who it is. I sometimes go back and watch all highlights. There was an absolute cracker scored at Ibrox. I can't remember if it was Scott Brown right in front of the Celtic fans behind the goal, and he wheels away in celebration. But you just get you get some unbelievable moments, and I think we might see more this weekend. I think it will be a high scoring game. I think both teams are defensively on the weaker side this season. I think they're both as vulnerable as each other, so I think we will see goals. It's just a matter, I think, of who can score more. But again, I fancy this being another draw, to be honest. Not to get away my prediction too early, but I do fancy another draw just for the way the last sort of 3 or 4 have went.
Charlie, it's a bit unusual how we've got two Glasgow derbies, OLs. I better caveat that, Bobby, and say from derbies, because in case people get upset, you know what I mean? Because people takes it very personally if you say Glasgow derby or Old Firm derby or whatever. I don't really care. It's a game of football, but it's a bit unusual that we've got 2 games back to back. A week apart. But like, if you go back to last Sunday's game, Charlie, it's all cliche in football, isn't it? It was like a game of 2 halves. Rangers were brilliant in the first half. Celtic dominated the second half. But I mean, if you look at it overall, I think half time came at a bad time for Rangers and a brilliant time for Celtic, because if you go on 2-0 down, you're thinking, well, if we get a quick goal back, the game could be on, and we could win it. We could win it or get a point, and Rangers will be like, well, our kind of like momentum's going a wee bit. If Celtic scores a wee quick goal, our heads will be down.
Yeah, you kind of said it perfectly there. I think half-time came at a brilliant time for Celtic. Allowed them to recover, and I think rightly so. Danny Rowe's been given a good bit of stick because he sat his team off in the second half for Celtic against Celtic, and it cost him. Rio Hitati completely changing the game, in my opinion. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. When he came on, obviously gets that vital penalty goal, but even just during the game, I thought he was a brilliant player during the game, and he. Fair enough, he hasn't been great this season. I don't think he has. I think he's been really, really poor at times. But if you can get Rio Hitati, that we've seen for years, week in, week out, you're going to have a much better chance at the league, in my opinion.
Okay, so we're going to talk a bit more about the game in a minute or two. But I interviewed 2 people. It's going to be, well, not involved in the game because they're not going to be on the park, but they're going to be on the stands, maybe shouting at each other during the game. I'm not sure if they do that at these games. But anyway, so we're going to talk to Andy, the Rangers fan, and I must warn you that his camera wasn't working. So I'm not speaking to myself. It's just because his camera wasn't on, and this was his take on the game on Sunday against Celtic at Ibrox. Sunday, what was the kind of like general feeling after last week's game? Because obviously it would have been a lot more different at half time, 2-0 up, and you played so well, but after the game, it must have felt like a bit of a defeat.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, Michael, to be honest with you, mate. Obviously 2-0 up, and we like a sniff in the first half. Rangers sort of pressed high, forced Celtic back, stopped Celtic from playing to their strengths, if you like. Um, and in my own opinion, and I'm sure a lot of Rangers fans would agree, the Rangers players went into the dressing room at half time thinking the game was won or game was done and dusted. And that was the wrong attitude to have, regardless of what would happen in the second half. We came out the first 5 minutes in the second half and sort of pressed the game, but then just all of a sudden sort of retreated. But in in all honesty, I noticed this at half time, Michael, on Sunday, being at the game. Rio Hatate was sent to warm up at half time, and he was putting a big shift in, run across the pitch and stuff like that there. And I says to myself, if he comes on, he'll cause problems because Celtic will then start to open up and push Rangers back. And obviously that did happen.
What the would you say that if Rangers went in 3-0, you would have been kind of saying that's 3 points in the bag at half time, but because it's 2-0, it's a kind of funny, kind of dodgy score in terms of I only think Celtic could score a quick goal in the back in the game.
Possibly, Michael. I suppose a 3-0 should look a wee bit safer. You would like to think so, but if you say the old cliche, 2-0 is a dodgy scoreline as 1-0 because one goal and the leading team then sort of backs off a bit and sort of panics, if you like. But Rangers did, in my opinion, panic. The fans, well, a lot of the fans sort of sensed the nervousness of the players and vice versa. And Celtic ran into that and then obviously started to play the game. I always maintain the likes of Cal McGregor, obviously the Celtic captain, makes Celtic tick in the midfield, and he didn't really get to do that. He wasn't allowed to do that in the first half, whereas the second half, completely different. He was able to pull the strings, push Celtic higher, like Negrin, other players getting forward from defence as well. The fullbacks, Tierney, who obviously went on to score the first goal as well.
What in terms of like that Danny Rowe this week, there's been a lot of criticism of him, and I did hear one Rangers fans calling him to be sacked on the spot. I think that was over the top. But what do you think of the reaction to Danny Rowe's team selection last week, and what what have you heard anything different this week?
The team selection was spot on for me, and I think most Rangers fans. It was the sort of strongest team you could have picked from the start of the game. I think it was more the subs. The subs were okay that he made, but the lack of impact that the subs made were absolutely terrible. In my own opinion, Diamande and Gassama did very little. Celtic's obviously bench was up for it more, and they made the subs and made an impact in the comeback to make it, get a draw. But I thought maybe the likes of Tavernier could have come on, or someone like that there, just to sort of add a bit of stability or a bit more strength to the team. But I would say it's an overreaction from fans, a certain element of Rangers fans, if they're wanting Danny Rowe sacked after that. Yes, he's dropped points, he's made mistakes this season since he's come in, but also at the same time he's helped Rangers and the players, a bit more self-belief to a certain degree, and win games and stuff like that there. So I would say sacking him, especially after last Sunday. I wouldn't agree with that, no.
Yeah, looking ahead to the Sunday's game, Andy, it's going to be totally different in terms of it's a cup game. It's the same venue, Ibrox Stadium, but also Celtic will be going there 1 point ahead of Rangers, albeit it's a cup game, it's a Scottish Cup game. I think they'll be on a bit of a high after Ibrox last week, the way that they performed in the second half. But I wanted to ask as well that the atmosphere in Sunday. Now it's going to be a bit unusual for the Celtic fans just to have all of the Bloomdale stand behind the goal because it's a cup game. Do you think that will add to the atmosphere any differently?
Of course it will, Michael. Listen, any Old Firm derby or derby game is absolutely electric, whether it's at Ibrox, Celtic Park, or Hampden Park, or anywhere in the world. Yeah, the both sets of fans are the most passionate sets of fans, and definitely in the UK, if not possibly Europe as well. Celtic getting the full Broomloan Road end will add to it, as it had done before, many times in the league games and cup games. Sunday's atmosphere previously was very hostile and very atmospheric. This Sunday will be, I would say, a good bit more, given there's more Celtic fans in the stadium, and also the Rangers fans will react to that, and also back their team and support their team as well, because yes, Celtic got a draw last weekend, and probably fully deserved the draw. To be honest, the way the second half showing was, it did, personally for me, it did feel like a defeat walking out of Ibrox last week. It was a sore one to take. And I said to many people on the way home from the game on the boat and the bus, Celtic getting that draw late on last week will give them a massive lift, especially if they were to go on and win it against Aberdeen, which was obviously last night, and they did. So Celtic will be coming to Ibrox full of confidence. Also, they'll be coming to Ibrox, and Martin O'Neill will have them set up a lot differently than the first half showing that they give in the game last Sunday.
How do you think Rangers will approach the game on Sunday? Obviously, it's a cup game. It's a bit different to a league game because if you get beat, you out the cup competition. How do you think Danny Rowe will set up on Sunday?
Do you know what, Michael? I'm not sure. If it was me, I don't know if I would change anything from the starting lineup. He could possibly do, depending on fitness, injuries, and stuff like that. But I would possibly start the same lineup. But my approach would be better. I think the approach has to be better, given we need to be more ruthlessness, or in front of goal. Take our chances. Control the game better when we have the ball. Look after the ball a lot better, and defensively, we need to be a lot stronger as well, because the first Celtic goal on Sunday, from a Celtic point of view, you could say it was well worked, but it was a disaster from a Rangers defensive point of view, players standing off and stuff. And I suppose you could say, from a Celtic point of view, the likes of Tremini's 2 goals as well were disastrous. You could have closed down and stuff like that there. So, as you say, a cup game is obviously different. The losers exit the competition. The winners, which of course in a derby game, have the bragging rights and go on to the next stage, which is the semi-final. But Sunday's absolutely massive. Obviously a double header, if you like, for Rangers, given the league game last Sunday, the cup game this Sunday, and I think it'll be absolutely massive.
Does it work in Rangers' favour in terms of not having the game this week? That Celtic had a massive game last night up at Aberdeen, albeit they won the game, but it was a struggle at times in the game.
I'm not so sure if it works in Rangers' favour having the sort of longer break, if you like, because if you remember back to 2022 season, when Rangers played Braga in the Europa League quarter-final, that went the extra time on the Thursday evening. Rangers then played Celtic in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup at Hampden, which then went the extra time as well, and Rangers looked the fitter team. So I wouldn't really buy into, getting a rest would probably benefit one team. If you could probably go as far as saying Celtic haven't played last night, the momentum and stuff, mentally and stuff like that, it's probably in the player's head that you just want to go again, and play again. If you ask any player, they'd probably say, we would rather play games than train. And as stupid as that sounds, it probably does suit Celtic a bit better. But Rangers have to react from last Sunday's outcome, given it's a cup quarter final, given it's against your fiercest rivals, and I'm sure Celtic will do the same as well.
I see Michael's taking himself off the screen again. I don't know if he's going to come back in a minute. But no, that was a good chat with Andy.
Half Rangers dominated the game, but second half Celtic dominated the game and. So Andy, what was the kind of okay, I've got no idea what happened there as well. But we'll be back in a minute or two because obviously we're going to get the Celtic view of things. And I sat down with Tino today from the Celtic Exchange podcast about the game, and this is what he had to say.
Definitely, or it was definitely a better point for us than them. At home, the onus is on Rangers to go and get the result if they've got serious title ambitions, and they didn't manage to do that, and they were in such a commanding position at half time, and we were just so poor in that first half, Michael. But as you say, we turned it around second half. We were far the better side. I think Celtic had 16 efforts on goal in the second half alone, and with a bit better finishing, that's up to Celtic, but with better finishing, we could have gone and taken all 3 points. So from that point of view, I think the Celtic players will be feeling good about themselves and not overly daunted now by the prospect of returning to Ibrox this Sunday.
Do you think Celtic will get a bit of a boost in terms of picking that point up last week, but also going up to Aberdeen and winning the game and moving 1 point clear of Rangers?
Yeah, they all go hand in hand. So I think they come away from Ibrox boosted by the draw. As I say, the whole day could have gone. It could have gone a bit better had we get the win. It could have been a disaster had Celtic lost there. So they take the boost from Ibrox from the draw. Then up at Pittodrie, I was there on Wednesday and we didn't play brilliantly, but we also thoroughly deserved the win. And you could see the response from the players on the final whistle. They're just kind of quietly, almost, Michael, just taking care of business, just kind of racking up the results. Martin O'Neill's record over the 2 interim spells is phenomenal. 1 loss domestically to Hibs, 1 loss in Europe to Stuttgart, and everything else is either a win or some draws here and there. And I think the group, the manager and the players will be feeling pretty decent heading into Sunday. And yeah, that momentum from the last couple of games, including the win over Stuttgart, actually the game before it, should have us in a good position going into the weekend.
Do you feel though that obviously the team's been over the course before, Tino, as well, and the football's not been brilliant, but Martin O'Neill's kind of like staggered the ship again for the second time as he goes back in there this season?
Yeah, I'd like the football to be better. I think we all would. And Celtic are doing this thing where they're playing in spells, they're playing in flashes. Last week being a good example. Very strong second half, non-existent first half. But there's examples of that throughout the season where we've had a good 10, 15, 20 minutes and then disappeared for other parts. And there is this hope, Michael, this desire to put in a complete performance, a 90-minute performance. But I'm saying all of that, I don't care one bit about performance if all we do is take care of business between now and the end of the season. So from Sunday's point of view, it's cup stuff, and hopefully we can get the one to take us to the semi-finals. But in terms of the league stuff, 9 games to go, and I couldn't care less if they are the worst 9 games you will ever see, as long as Celtic get the job done.
I've got to talk to you about off the park stuff as well, Tino, because obviously the fans that are chanting for the ball to go and all the rest of it. But do you feel as though, as a fan, that everybody should be united and pulling together in the one direction to win the league or cup or else the double? Yeah,
that's the hope, and I think it might have been Martin O'Neill that said it during his first spell that a united Celtic can be an incredible force, and at the moment Celtic aren't united, far from it. So there's lots required to bring that back on track, and different groups will need to get in the room and whatnot and try and iron out the various issues. And I think the big hope is that in the short term, at least, the fans, and by the fans I mean the Green Brigade primarily, can we get them back in? Can we find the solution, whatever the solution is? Can we get them back in for our next home game, which is Motherwell, a week on Saturday, the 14th of March, and really just pull together as a united force to try and get things over the line? And as you say, the number one priority is the league, but if we could add a Scottish Cup and make it a double, it could still be a phenomenal season, Michael, despite all the nonsense, and there has been loads of nonsense, but despite all of that, it could still be a great season for Celtic, and that's got to be the hope.
Going back to the game on Sunday night, obviously, it's going to be a different game, as in, it's a different competition, same venue, but more Celtic fans being to go. How weird in a good way to see that, but for the Celtic fans to pack out the Bloom Rogue stand being to go.
Yeah, I think it's massive, Michael. So it'll be the first time in a long time we've had, such a number at Ibrox. I think it'll be close to 8,000 fans that will be there. And I think that in itself is an occasion to look forward to. And the Celtic fans made themselves heard last Sunday with a couple of thousand, give or take. So you're going to really, really hear them, on Sunday coming. They'll be belting out simply the best before the game, all of those kind of things. And yeah, I think there's no doubt. There's a couple of things at play in terms of last week. Celtic had a smaller fan base and we didn't turn up for the first half. Now we've got the opportunity on Sunday coming, we'll quadruple the fans in attendance, and we should, try a wee bit in the first half, try this novel idea of playing in the first half and the second half. And that should, in theory, give Celtic a far better chance of getting out there with the result. So, yeah, there's a couple of things in our favour that weren't with us last week. So hopefully the team can apply them.
There we go. That was Tino from the Celtic Exchange podcast talking to us today about the game. So you've heard both viewpoints from the fans, Charlie. Yeah, so it's going to be a good game on Sunday, as I remember to put my camera on. There you go.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracker. A game that I'm excited for, especially with the new crowd as well. Around 8,000, is it?
Yep.
That'll be an unbelievable atmosphere, and it'll definitely give Celtic an edge in the game as well, because the first half, last Sunday's tie was really, really poor for a Celtic standard. They're really, really poor. They weren't good enough. They just didn't get going, and they just didn't seem up for it. Second half comes around, they were good. Obviously come back to get 2-2. So I actually think, especially with the 2-1 win against Aberdeen midweek as well, I think they'll have a little bit more momentum in it. I think Rangers, the heads might be slightly dropped after that as well, and definitely because a lot of the fans have gotten, especially Danny Rose, back as well.
Robbie, what was that? A kind of weird comment that Danny Rose was trying to make, because about last week, because I think it backfired on him a wee bit, especially in the second half.
Aye, I think you found, Michael. I don't know, but I find it more happening now. See, the way you see managers coming there for, well, obviously, I know Danny was managing Chef Wednesday, but he's a German coach. You've got, obviously, Jens coming in. He's for sort of elsewhere as well. When these coaches come in, they almost speak like that? They almost say things that you wouldn't normally expect, like a Scottish manager to say, or somebody who knows the game very well. It just feels like that's almost their style, but I think overall in the piece, I know you were sort of meant to joke that on Wednesday, Michael. I think Danny Rowland needs to focus on his own team a bit more. Coming up for these games, focus less on the opposition. As Andy said, and by the way, Andy and Tino, brilliant as per, two passionate fans about their two clubs. Obviously, both got different viewpoints now coming into this game than they probably would have had last week and into the league game. But Andy made the point, one half will feel dejected, and Rangers almost need to work that into their favour. Rangers know they can go up against Celtic and they can go ahead at half time. They can be 2-0 up at half time. They're showing they can do that so far. What you're finding is Rangers are having a good first half and bad second half, and Celtic are having a bad first half and good second half. they're two completely opposite teams right now. It's going to need to take one of them, I think, to grab a game by the scruff of the neck and really push on. As Tino was saying, Celtic can use that comeback as good fuel to go into this game. But Danny Rowe could tell his players, look, you know you can do this against them, get in their face for the full 90, use the noise of the crowd that's going to be behind you, and really push on and try and put Celtic to bed in this cup game, because any team can win this. This is the first time in a long time where you're getting into a Celtic v Rangers game, and I don't think there's a definitive winner that they can pick in this game. It's going to be really, really tight. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how this game pans out. And I'm especially looking forward to, as Charlie mentioned, this is the first maybe Glasgow derby, or from whatever you want to call it, that I've seen with the full fans behind the goal as well. So I'm going to really look forward to seeing that. The atmosphere is going to be probably double to what it was last week. So it should be a cracker, Michael.
I always forget, Charlie, that I'm the oldest one. I should really be like the captain of the ship, because obviously you guys hasn't saw the fans behind the goal. I have. I've had many a year since I saw the fans behind the goal, and it makes for kind of like a better atmosphere as well. So, do you think that Celtic would have a slightly upper hand in terms of like the second half performance last week and getting a win up at Aberdeen, albeit it was a difficult game, but they managed to get all 3 points that makes them 1 point clear of Rangers in second place?
Yeah, definitely. I think the fans is going to make a big difference. Look, with that atmosphere, Celtic have so much more backing as well. That'll make a difference. And then also you got to pinpoint, as much as it wasn't the best performance from Celtic midweek, at the end of the day, if Celtic win the rest of their games but they're playing terrible football, they're not going to care, because they could very much possibly win the league with 9 wins. But yeah, I think the fans will make a massive difference going into it.
Yeah. So who do you think will be the key men for like both teams, Robbie? Or obviously Rangers first.
I think looking at Rangers, you're probably looking at sorry for any background noise outside my house. I don't know what's going on out there, but
I thought that was Halloween, Robbie.
it might be Reagan, mate. He's right to the show, but no. For the Rangers' point of view, you can't really look past Yusuf Chermiti right now. He scored obviously 2 last weekend. I doubt he's going to score anywhere near a good a goal as the first one, right enough. But you know, your striker scoring goals, it's what you need him to do, and he's scored more this season than he has his whole professional career. So Rangers will need to try and get the best out of him. They're going to need goals because, as I said earlier, Michael, both teams are not very good defensively. Very defensively weak on both sides. So it's going to be an interesting watch on that front. Where else do I think Rangers probably shine? Probably Sam Robbins at left back.
He played well last week.
Very good left back. As somebody that they've probably missed since Barisic left, probably before that as well. Barisic was a very good attacking player, but wasn't always the most solid defensively. So I think they two are probably a key men to watch out for, to be honest with you. I think we've not really seen the best of him yet. I don't know if he's going to be playing. I'm not too sure. But Chukwueze in the midfield, a very fast player in the midfield, can cause a lot of teams problems. And that's where you're probably going to Celtic, Michael. You're looking at Celtic's team, you're looking at the midfield, Rio Hatate. I'm going to assume he's going to start at the game at the weekend, just based on the second half performance at Ibrox last time. Absolutely brilliant player. Won Celtic game away at Pittodrie on Wednesday, with a really, really smart back out to lay up the goal. Then you're probably looking at guys like Callum McGregor. You know, McGregor, his work kind of go unnoticed, although he's not always popping up with big moments every single week. It's his calmness in games. It's his captain approach to games that really pull Celtic through. Somebody to go on the pitch, somebody to go and shout at the players to get them up for it. And I think that's what Rangers missed last week. Rangers didn't bring Tav on the pitch. Tav's your leader. Tav's when you need somebody to spark you into life, get you up the pitch, get you back in control. He's your type of guy like McGregor. So I think McGregor and Hatate will be important. I think you're maybe looking at Arthur starting as well. I know a few Celtic fans now have said it'll be trusty, but I'd honestly just fling Arthur in there and see what he's made of in this bigger game, because you're not going to get a better chance than when he's just come off of a pretty good performance against Aberdeen to fling him in. So there's a good few players. I think Sinisalo will be good as well. Sinisalo's obviously made a good couple of saves now. That's if he picks a more striker, but I'd like to think Martin O'Neill's smart and they will pick Sinisalo, because I think right now, with the way both goalkeepers have been playing recently, I think Sinisalo's a smarter choice. So, Michael, I definitely think the midfield for me is the biggest battle between the two sides, and I think whoever takes control of that early on will give themselves a good chance.
Of course, Martin O'Neill revealed today that Smike was back in training, and he's took an injection as well. But we'll soon see if he plays on Sunday. Charlie, Martin O'Neill says it's going to be a different competition, but it's still the same aim, and we want to start well. And I think that's a key point for any Celtic fans, that they want to start well in this game. It's all about how you start. It's not how you finish at times as well. But so, and then obviously Danny Rowe says, we're disappointed last week, but we'll be ready to go again. We played well for 50 minutes, but we need to improve and play all the game. And that's the thing, because we said it early on in the show. Managers say that they play well for parts of the game. In this case, Danny Rowe was saying, 50 minutes, but fans aren't interested in if you play well for like 10 minutes or 10 seconds. It's all about getting a win. They never done that.
Yeah, for me, I don't think I've seen Celtic play a really good 90 minutes this season. I think you can pinpoint a good 30 minutes where they've been really, really good, or you can pinpoint even a good 60 minutes when they've been impressive, but then they tail away at the end, and that's why, for me, I think they're just not going to do it this season, not going to win the league for me. I just think you need your team. Look, for me, whenever I watch Hearts, as much as they're not exactly playing well for the whole 90 minutes, they're just solid. You just don't expect them to concede. I think it's a different story with Celtic. I think they look vulnerable at the back. I think against Hibs, they were really, really poor as well. The goals they concede, obviously Austin Trusty doing whatever you want to call that doesn't help the situation. But I think they need to perform for at least a good 80 minutes if they're going to win on Sunday.
So what's your predictions for the game on Sunday, Charlie? Celtic Rangers.
As much as I've just put ham on Celtic, I actually do think they're going to win this, and I think it's going to be 1-1, and Celtic win on penalties.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Robbie?
I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go 3 each, and I'm going to go Rangers to win it on penalties.
Wow.
That'll be a cracker.
Aye.
Yeah. I will go a very old school score, 90 minutes, 2-1 Celtic, and that one as well. So there you go. Who needs Reagan, Robbie, when you're coming up with each as well? Because Reagan always goes to wacky scores, but
it's nearly time for Reagan's party fisser, so I'm sure we'll see him in here at some point.
Yeah, I'm not putting you down as the wacky man, but on that occasion, that I think I will give you the wacky man of the week or whatever. As well. Before we talk about the last game of the weekend, Robbie might want to avoid the subject. St Mirren against Packet Thistle on Sunday. Question from Robbie: If you know the answers, put them in the chat. You don't want anything. You just want a night out with me, Robbie, and Jim Goodwin at your local McDonald's. So give us a question, Robbie.
Yeah, so I've got a second player here. So same format again. It's a player that's played with a team that's still in the Scottish Cup. So this player started his youth career at 2008 at Aberdeen, where he spent the youth career 2008 to 2014. Then he transitioned into the first team in 2014, where he spent 6 years at the Dons, making 91 appearances and scoring 5 goals. In that time, he had loan spells at Ayr United and Alloa Athletic. This is one obviously for Charlie.
When you said he came through youth level, the first name that popped into my head was Fraser Fyvie, but I don't think it'll be him here.
It isn't him, no. A good shout, but
no, I didn't think it would be him, but I just thought I may as well go for the guess.
Did you say 95 appearances, Robert?
91 appearances and 5 goals.
Wow, yeah. And
But
how many
we're thinking
goals?
more defensive player then.
How many goals?
5 goals,
Oh,
Michael.
God. I think that's a poor return, but I'm not sure. Oh, God.
Do you need me to continue, or just going to fire the
Yeah.
guess?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I reckon you will probably get it on this one. So, in 2020, he moved to Nottingham Forest, where he spent 4 years at the club, racking up 94 appearances, scoring 3 goals.
It's no Scott McKenna,
It is Scott
Is
McKenna.
it?
Well done,
Ah.
Charlie. And no many goals for centre back. Then obviously went on
Yeah.
to Copenhagen and then
Bit of
Las
bad
Palmas.
knowledge from me, but I actually never knew he came through at Aberdeen. Actually, never
Yeah,
knew that.
interesting. I never knew he came through the Aberdeen
No.
youth academy either. Initially, a left back as well. The Daily
There you
Record.
go.
The Daily Record called him one of the most promising defenders in the country. But he went on to obviously play with Copenhagen, then Las Palmas, and recently Dynamo Zagreb, where he's obviously racked up 47 Scotland appearances as well.
Not a bad career.
There
Decent.
you go. Okay, let's move on to the game on Monday night then. Monday night? Sunday night? Monday night? No, we will be playing. Sunday night it is St Mirren against Packet Thistle. I'm going to call this game Glasgow against Paisley, Robbie. I like to classify the games, you see, because I'm a bit of an old... Yeah, no, don't say it, Robbie. Because I know you're desperate to say something there. It's okay. I'm used to it, mate. It's fine. Yeah. So Packet Thistle, St Mirren, Robbie. What are you expecting on Sunday night?
Yeah, it's almost a Robbie versus Reagan derby here on the show, obviously, Michael. I think we'll probably see Reagan come in a minute, but no, in all seriousness, it's one I'm looking forward to. Partick Thistle are bringing a really good crowd in. We should probably address the elephant in the room so far today. Partick Thistle have had some tickets cancelled for fans buying them in the home end, which, in my honest view, is right for the club to do that. Partick Thistle, yes, they have an argument to make that ticket sales in the home end are low, and I get that, but your attendance is your attendance. They sold out the away allocation. That should be the line. They shouldn't be buying home tickets. Named they should. In any stadium, you should be allowed to buy your away allocation, and that's it. And I get the frustration for Thistle fans because they clearly want to come and back the club. You know, they're 90 minutes away from Hampden against a St Mirren team that right now don't look like they can beat anybody. So I get the frustration, but you still shouldn't be buying tickets in the home end, and that's my personal view on it. But in terms of the actual game, Michael, I'm buzzing. We've no had, on that run to Hampden the last time we played Hearts at home, and that was really it for our home ties in the cup. I wanted a good cup tie at home. That's what you always want. I think we've got the best we probably could have asked for. To try and get through and just the atmosphere. Thistle are a big club in the Championship, no matter if they've not been in the Prem in a good while. They always bring out a good crowd, and it's no different. Obviously, sold out. Fair play to the Thistle fans that are coming. It should be a cracking atmosphere, a good night. Let's not forget, as Reagan keeps telling us every week in the show, Thistle are having a good Championship campaign. They're battling up there with St Johnstone for top. I still like think they can go and get it, but I do see St Johnstone probably just sneaking the league now. So, this is a big chance for Partick Thistle, taking my black and white tinted specs off for a minute. It is a huge chance for them to come to Paisley, cause an upset, and get themselves through to Hampden, which I could not tell you the last time Partick Thistle played at Hampden in a semi-final or final. So they'll be hoping this is a chance, and to be honest, you're looking at every other team in the draw, and you're probably saying to yourself, this is going to be Thistle's best chance. Obviously, we need to try and hold up to what we are sort of known for. We're tough to beat in Paisley, and till Jens Bethel apparently rolls through and does his F5-0, but we are historically good, and I think we need to keep that standard against the Championship team. We can't afford to let them come at us. Charlie was saying earlier about us and teams sort of around us having experienced players that deals with bad seasons. We've got that at the back. Marcus Fraser captain Ross County for like 5 years. He's been through plenty of relegation battles. Gogic spent enough time at Hamilton. He knows what it's like to battle through tough times. So we definitely do have the players there. But I don't know. It's such a weird one to talk about, guys. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. I really do see Partick Thistle putting up a good fight in this game, and it's all about how we conduct ourselves. It's going to be a poor crowd, it looks like, and I don't blame people, by the way. People have work on Monday morning, and the game could be going on till like 10 o'clock, so I don't blame some fans for not coming, but I'd like to see as many there as possible and hopefully try and get behind the guys, because again, we've got another trip to Hampden if we get through this tie. 3 in one season would be just unbelievable. So I'd like to hope we'll turn it in the numbers, but I think, I don't know about you guys from an outsider's point of view, but you're probably looking in going, Thistle have got a really good chance to come out of Paisley and win.
I mean that's what Stephen Robertson said. Robbie, I don't know if you saw it as well, Charlie, but he said today that it's a good chance to get back to Hampden as well, and I suppose Charlie, we always say this, don't we, when teams are down the bottom of the table, that they can go and they can kind of like get the shackles off in terms of like it's not a league game, it's a cup game, and like the winner takes all.
Yeah, look, if I'm being honest, I actually do think Partick Thistle will get the win on Sunday. Is it on Sunday? I believe it is.
Yeah,
sorry, Robbie, but I actually do think Partick Thistle will get the result. I just think they've been fantastic in the championship. They've done quite well last season as well, and I just think they're going to do it. I think this at minute it's I don't know if I'm using the right word here, but it's toxic at the moment at St Mirren. I think split opinions with the whole manager. I think a lot every St Mirren fan will probably agree with this. They do all love Stephen Robinson, but they feel he's been too stubborn with his tactics. I think there is needing to be a change at St Mirren. Maybe that's doesn't even have to be the manager, but just maybe down to tactics and stuff like that, because I just think the football has never been unbelievable at St Mirren, but once again, I've always kind of kept the same opinion, who actually cares if you're winning games? And for 3 seasons in a row, St Mirren were doing that and we're getting top 6, so I think that's why fans are so annoyed at this point.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Charlie. I think it's always such a frustrating one, because I'm very optimistic in that I'll never want Robinson sacked. I've said that even if he gets relegated this season, I still wouldn't want him out. It's just something I can never personally say, because he's gave me the best 3 years supporting St Mirren I'll probably ever have in my life, and I cannot believe some fans are so unhesitant to want him out, and some fans have wanted him out since Robinson came in. I know some fans have never fully backed him, and that's fair enough. If you don't like a manager, you don't like a manager, but you can't argue with what he's done in the last sort of 3-4 years at the club. The turnaround has been sensational, and like I'm not going to ramble on, because I come on here every week and say the exact same thing. We've overachieved the last 3 years. We've done well. We're sort of run where we probably should be on paper and all that sort of smart. But I'd just say I'll never want that man to leave. But I agree with you with Thistle. Mark Wilson's got the team playing very well. Mark Wilson, Alec Ray, two very different coaches. Mark's obviously quite a young coach in terms of clubs he's managed it. Alex has obviously been around the block at St Mirren before he's managed. Obviously, he's been in at Rangers a few times and that sort of stuff. So, they've sort of hit the nail on the head with the sort of balance of the two coaches. They've got a team that's playing for them. Do I think Ocean Smith and Fraser Taylor will be big misses? I think they will. Ocean Smith's really stepped up for Thistle since he went there on loan, and I think he will be a big miss in the midfield. But they have some decent players. I mean, Tony Watt, he's an experienced striker in the Scottish game, and he knows how to find the back of the net. So I think it's going to be Thistle's best chance to come to Paisley and win and get themselves a trip to Hampden, probably for a good while. I don't imagine they'll come up against a team as dejected and as low in morale and as low in confidence as us. I mean, we are literally giving teams goals. We gave Dundee United to give them the win against us. That's how dejected we are. And I just really don't know what Stephen's going to do with the team selection. I really don't know what formation. I don't know who he's going to pick. I'm a bit at a loss, to be honest. So I think, Michael, as you pointed out, Stephen made a great point. We need the fans there. The fans are going to be the biggest factor in this match. We know Thistle are going to be loud for the first whistle because they've sold out their attendance and they're going to be bringing every fan they have. So we know they're going to be loud right for the start, but we just need to try and match that. And if we can, we've got every good chance, because let's not forget, no matter how bad we are playing, we're favourites for this game on Sunday. no matter how bad we're playing with the Premiership team, we should be able to take care of business, and let's just hope we can, from a St. point of view. I'm sure if Reagan was on the show, he'd be saying the exact same thing about Thistle. Hopefully they can go and get the win. So I think we'll do it.
What's your thoughts about this, Robbie? Like, he also went on and said, it's going to be a difficult game and all the rest of it, but he said that there's not a lot between the sides. Well, what do you think of that comment?
You know what? I think I'd agree, Michael. A lot of people, a lot of Scottish football fans seem to think that there's a huge gap between the Championship and the Premiership, and I do buy that a bit. I think there is a bit of a gap. I think if it's to be us or Kilmarnock in the relegation playoffs, I think both teams should be able to handle whoever we play in the Championship. But saying that, you know, Michael, football is a game of positive and negatives. If we're looking down in the dumps right now, we can't beat anybody. We're gaining away goals for fun. And you've got Thistle, who are high flying in the Championship, still in a title fight, full of confidence, no fear coming to Paisley, then it's going to play a factor. So I would agree that there isn't too much in it, to be honest, right now. But I can't help but feel, Michael, the experience of Simon and the know-how to do it at home is maybe going to just carry us through the game, and that's the only thing that will carry us through the game. Obviously, if we are to go through and we are to come on here on Sunday and live react to the draw, and we're sort of seeing who St Mirren are getting instead of Partick Thistle, then we'll need to play a lot better in the semis at Hampden, because I can assure you we'll not go to Hampden and run a team at a 4-1 again. Absolutely no way that will happen. So it's going to be a pretty tight game. I think there'll not be many goals in it.
Charlie, what are you expecting on Sunday? It's going to be a brilliant atmosphere, probably was saying, but well, we had a good game on the park.
I think it could be a game where I don't know. I would like to say that St Mirren would dominate it, but I don't know. Even I don't think there's too much. Even Mark Wilson said it. I don't think there's too much between the squads. I think St Mirren, obviously they're quite low in confidence at the moment. A poor result against Dundee United, but then you look at Partick Thistle, they'll feel like they can very much get something out of this game and very much get themselves at Hampden. They'll bring a great crowd, which will help. I think we've said that for every game in the Scottish Cup this weekend. It's going to definitely help, but I think it'll be a brawl. I think it'll be a fight, and I think whoever St Mirren, who are very good at that, or are meant to be very good at that, if they can win the battles in the pitch, they could definitely get a win on Sunday. But for me, I still think Partick Thistle will win it.
I would have loved to have had Reagan here, but I was sure, Charlie. I think when we spoke about sort of other teams travelling away, you know, Dundee United or Aberdeen, we sort of said, right, this is it, leave everything on the line, this is all you've got. But Thistle have still got a Championship title they're playing for, so how much time that will affect again?
Absolutely. Like, if Partick Thistle get to Hampden and manage to get promoted in the same season, I think Partick Thistle fans will speak about it for absolute donkeys. But I think they don't have to throw everything at it, like we've spoken about Aberdeen and Dundee United. They don't have to, because they can easily look. It won't be an easy job getting promoted, even if because I don't think they're going to win the league this season. As much as I would love to see Partick Thistle with the fans that they've got win the league, but I just don't. I think St Johnstone are too strong a side. So yeah, for me, I don't think they've got to throw everything at it. I think they can get promoted. As much as there is, it's going to be a tough battle in the playoffs, even if they do get as far to play a Premiership side. But yeah, for me, I don't think they have to throw everything at the basket.
So what's your prediction for the games on Sunday? I'll start with Robbie first, because you're at home, St Mirren against Partick Thistle.
I've been sitting here for nearly 40 minutes trying to work out what my prediction is, Michael, mate, and I'm still not any closer. But I'm going to go a tight 1-0 to St Mirren, and I think it'll be a late goal as well.
Charlie?
I am going to go, sorry, Robbie, but I'm going to go 3-1 to Partick Thistle. I know.
Oh my God. 3-1.
I'm going to go for another tight game, right? And another 2-1 win. Robbie says 2-1 to who? I want you to come back on the show on Sunday, Robbie, because that's a brilliant punt. I know Robbie's got. So 2-1 to St Mirren on Sunday.
Listen, see if Charlie's prediction comes right, I might not be back in the show on Sunday. Put it that way. I don't think I could take a 3-1 to Partick Thistle, I'll be honest.
There you go. So that's the games. By the way, there's only one Premiership game at the weekend. It's a game in hand. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But the quiz master is back. Robbie is back with one more question because Charlie has got. It's 1-0 to Charlie at the moment. So I need this one to go level as well. And also we've got the Falkirk team as well. Robbie's a busy guy tonight. He's on double time as well. So we're going to get the team news from Falkirk in a wee minute or two after we hear Robbie's the quiz master, Robbie.
Yeah, so I feel bad, right? Because Michael, you told me obviously when you told me Charlie was coming on the show, I'd already made my player picks by this point for the show. And this one's slightly the older generation, so I do apologise in advance, Charlie, for this. But you should.
I think you mean the older generation, Robbie?
Well, just the year that he played for each club. It's a bit older time. It's a bit one, Michael. I think you'll know me than maybe Charlie.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Okay, yeah. 4-1 to Packet Thistle on Sunday night now, Robbie.
We'll see if that happens, and I'll know definitely know back in the show. But I dare say, by the way, I've got Falkirk team sheets. I've got Dundee United's team that got released 10 minutes ago. Falkirk have not released their team yet, so I don't know what's taking them so long. But I will give you this player and hopefully they release it soon. So this player started his youth career at St Mirren in 1985-86 before transitioning into the first team in 1986, where he spent 7 years at the club, racking up 227 appearances and scoring 14 goals.
Yeah,
over to you, Michael.
Yes, thanks, Charlie. That's the last time you'll see Charlie on the show. Yeah, okay. I'm not up to my St Mirren history, Robbie, but I'm an old fart, as I say. So I'm going to pass and say if you can give me another guess.
Yeah, just a funny story while that's at Mirren. He was a part of the team that obviously won the 1987 Scottish Cup final, since obviously beat Dundee United in that. Due to his age, manager Alex Smith had to send the youngster home early because his alcohol-fueled celebrations and he couldn't drink because it was too late at the time.
That gives that away then. That gives that away.
Aye, have you got it after that?
Yeah, it's a given, Robbie. It's Frank McGarvey.
It's no Frank McGarvey.
Oh, right, okay.
Incorrect.
Okay. I was just thinking about alcohol and anyway.
Do you want me to continue?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Okay, so in 1993, he moved to Motherwell, where he spent 3 years at the Steelmen, racking up 103 appearances and scoring 6 goals.
Okay.
The next move's quite astonishing, if I do say so myself, by the way. Some of the teams this guy's played for is mental.
No. No, on you go.
All right, next, he moved in 1996 to Borussia Dortmund, where he spent a year at the club, making 44 appearances and scoring only once. I think the next team might get away if you don't get it after this. Charlie, you even get a slight idea of how this could be?
Not a slight.
Michael, anything?
Nope.
All right, do you want the next team?
Yes, mate.
All right,
yes.
well, that should hopefully help you. In 1997, after a successful spell at Borussia Dortmund, by the way, he transferred to Celtic, where he spent 8 years at Celtic, making 193 appearances and scoring 14 goals.
Okay, before I'm going to give you an answer, right, I'm just going to make a pain in the backside of myself here. Right? Did you go down south after that?
He did not go down south after that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having a bad night, by the way, Charlie. So did he finish his career at Celtic?
He did not. There's one more club he played for.
In Scotland?
Yes, you want me to give you that team?
I may as well give me an answer.
Yeah, so in 2005, he transferred to Livingston, where he made 7 appearances over the course of the season, 0 goals, and then decided to retire. After that, I will tell you, he made 40 caps for the Scottish national team between 1995 and 2003.
I know you guys thinking I'm old, but I don't know all the old questions, right? Just
To be
for
fair, he's not too old, Michael. It's the sort of, it's a generation I think you would have been, you know, prime time football. You know what I mean? Watching all
now, Robbie,
the old
now
schoolers.
you've overstepped your mark now, mate. Right? I'm gonna
If you
have
want,
to ask you to leave the show now.
if you want, I can dive into his managerial career if that would help.
It was a manager. Okay.
It was.
Yeah, it was. Okay. Give me one team.
Right, okay. He's managed quite a lot, so do you want the starting team that he managed, or do you want the most recent?
I think someone has got the answer in the chat.
Owen, you're never going to sound stupid, mate. Put it in the chat and see if you've got it.
You're never going to think stupid because I'm here. I would join you in being stupid.
I'll be very, very impressed if Owen gets this, actually. Owen, who was obviously on the show, by the way, on Tuesday by me and Reagan. Before
he did a brilliant job on Tuesday night, Owen. Paul,
you'll never believe this. He's hit the mark 2 for 2. Paul Lambert.
That was actually staring right in my face because, Celtic Borussia, Dortmund, aye, okay, and they play for Motherwell, aye, okay. Yeah, we go. I'm stupid, but I don't care. Okay. Let's swiftly move on from that because I'm having a bad night, Charlie. Team news from Falkirk, Dundee United. Robbie, get me out this hole, please.
Falkirk yet to release their team sheet. They're now 15 minutes late on Dundee United, so I'm not too sure what's happening with the Barons, but I can tell you Dundee United's team, so it'll be Maynard, Brewer on goals, then it'll be Selves, Graham the captain, Trapanovsky, Kamara, Sapsford, Ferry, Ajay, Lucas Stevenson, Carestes and Callum Waters. Johnny Russell once again on the bench. I wonder if we'll see him in action. Obviously, it's a plastic pitch, I think. Jim Goodwin will probably want to be quite careful with distributing him into action. But yeah, Michael, as far as we're concerned, Falkirk are running very, very late with our team sheets tonight.
And just to make it worse, like Owen said, Gwen, you said Borussia Dortmund and Celtic, it was him, but I don't know what made me think, but anyway, Frank McGavin. Anyway, okay, so one more game to talk about then, and it's a game in hand tomorrow. Robbie, everybody's talking about Motherwell Celtic next week, but first of all, they've got to get all 3 points up at Dundee, and Dundee will be a very difficult game because, Stephen Presley has got them playing well this season.
Playing very well. I know I said earlier about Dundee still not being completely the relegation trap, but I don't think if I had to make a prediction, I think they will be safe this season. Presley's out-exceeded everyone's expectations. People had him bottom before he even kicked the ball. It's just the way it happened. Obviously, we all thought Dundee lost quite a lot when they lost the Dock and quite a lot of key players, but Presley's come in and balanced the ship really well. And I know he will only get it, and I don't even think he'll be in the shortlist, but if you're speaking about pure achievements, Stephen Presley not even being worried about Dundee's relegation should have him up for manager of the season because it's something I didn't expect. I really did think Dundee would be 11th for 12 come the end of the season, so you've got to give full credit to Presley's well exceeded expectations already. Obviously, Lady's intentions very clear when they joined the club. It was going to be a tough season. They weren't really going to compete for trophies, as that famous press conference went. But I do think he is the right man for Dundee, and I think he is a better manager than people give him credit for. And I'm not be surprised if they keep building into next season because I think the board will probably back him now. I think he's earned their trust. So, Michael, you're right. It's not going to be an easy game for Motherwell, but can you really look past the ends right now and the way his team are playing? I don't think you can. Genuinely, there's no many teams I've watched in Scotland right out of the last maybe 7-8 years I've been watching, and I've looked at it and went, they're genuinely unstoppable. Like every team's had a weakness somewhere, bar maybe Celtic's treble team. Every single team's been able to be stopped in some department. I'm genuinely looking at this Motherwell team and asking who's going to stop them, where they're weak, because even Paul McGinn and Stephen Welsh as a centre-back partnership are looking absolutely brilliant. And that's no disrespect to either of them, by the way. But if you told me Paul McGinn would be starting in that Motherwell team in 2026, I would have laughed at you, to be honest with you, because I just didn't think he was that good a defender. But I genuinely don't know where this Motherwell team gets stopped. I don't see it being against Dundee, to be honest. I think they'll go up there and win. And I think they'll just keep building a streak, of course, ahead of a huge match at Celtic Park, which, by the way, we're talking about teams having nothing left to play for. Motherwell, obviously, they have something to play for, but they've no at the same time. They're not playing for the league title. They know they're outside shouts. They're just enjoying it. But the difference is now, with Celtic and Rangers still in the cup, obviously one will be knocked out by Saturday night, or Sunday afternoon. They've got a really good chance of pushing up this league. They've got a chance to show no fear. They only have the league competition left. They can go after Celtic next week. And Motherwell, I think I'll get a crack at this, because I really don't know one team in this Premiership right now that can stop Motherwell. I couldn't name you one. I think if Motherwell played Hearts next week, I'd be saying the same. I don't think Hearts can stop Motherwell right now.
Charlie, what do you think of Motherwell this season?
They're a genuinely joy to watch, and I think Motherwell fans should just try and enjoy what they've got with Jens as long as possible, because I don't know if he'll be there come next season. I genuinely really do hope he is there. I know a lot of Aberdeen fans said that Jens should be getting a Aberdeen job. I think that a lot of Aberdeen fans are dreaming with that, and you're allowed to dream in football. I was dreaming, if I've been honest, in saying that he could possibly get the job. I didn't ever think he would get the job. I think he's got a project with Motherwell. I really do hope he stays next season, because I would love to see Motherwell get a cup, or you never even know, maybe even get a title. So watching Motherwell this season has been a genuine joy, and hope to see a lot more of it.
Your prediction for the game on Sunday, guy? I'm getting as bad as you, Robbie. Tomorrow.
It's going to be an interesting game, but I can't see past Motherwell winning right now, and I think it will take a lot to stop them. So I'm going to go Dundee 1, Motherwell 3.
Charlie?
I'm going to go Dundee 0, Motherwell 3.
There we go. Okay, I will go plenty of goals in this one. Motherwell will just sneak it 3-2 to the Motherwell, and that will set up the game nicely next week. Okay, before we go, guys, let's dive into the championship and speak about your highlight of the games. Well, all 3 games, that is. Okay, so Queen's Park against Airdrie, Arbroath against Ross County, and Morton against St Johnstone. These are the games of the championship of the weekend. And if you are hoping to hear from Sean Crichton, well, you've got no chance because Reagan's not here. So if you want to listen to head on to our TikTok page where the interview is up now with Reagan and Sean Crichton. So there you go. Robbie, I'll start with you on this one. What game are you expecting to be your game of the weekend? Sorry.
Yeah, I think Reagan's probably just still raging. Mike, I think his Partick Thistle ticket get cancelled for the home end, so I think he's probably a bit angry that he's not getting to go to the game. But no, they're all good games in their own right, aren't they? I mean, I think for me it's going to probably be Morton versus St Johnstone, because there's so much on the line for either team. Morton have obviously still got an outside shout at this playoff spot, although I don't see them getting it, to be honest. I think there's too much competition in the championship right now. They're obviously still trying to deal with losing to Gemry, which, by the way, after being in charge for such a long time, is a big miss for any team. To lose a manager who was that trusted at a club. And then you've got St Johnstone, who just simply need to win. They've got the advantage right now of Thistle not being able to play their game, because obviously they're still in the cup. So it's a good chance for St Johnstone to make a bit of a gap before Thistle return to league action. So I'd pick that one, but they're all good in their own right. I mean, the game that Reagan will be going to Queen's Park, Airdrie. another very fascinating game between two teams. Reagan's obviously been keeping us up to date, Michael, with how Queen's Park are sort of going on and how they're doing. But I think the Championship every week, Michael, we say it all the time, it's a really good league, always good games.
Charlie, what game are you will be at the standout game of the weekend?
I have to agree with Robbie. I think it will be Morton St Johnstone. I think I've been really impressed with what Ian Murray's done since he's been into Morton. I think he's a great manager. I think he's really, really good at what he does. And as much as I would agree with what Robbie said, I don't think they're going to get in the playoffs this season. But I think he'll keep that up pretty comfortably. I think that's what Ian Murray does. He's done very, very well at Raith Rovers, first time out, nearly getting promoted with them. For St Johnstone, I actually think St Johnstone have actually done worse than a lot of people thought they were going to do. I actually think a lot of people thought St Johnstone would just run away with maybe even Ross County just behind them. But it has been a lot closer to a title race, where obviously Partick Thistle and you maybe even shout out to Arbroath, who have done very, very well this season. So yeah, that'd be my game of the weekend.
So the Falkirk team, it's not out yet, Robbie, so I might take my prediction back and fancy Dundee United on that game now as well. So yeah, no, the Falkirk team's not out, but we see this as soon as we come over here, the Falkirk team.
It's
out, okay.
It's out finally.
Lastminute.com.
They were only 25 minutes late, but it's fine. We'll let it slide. So they've went with Scott Bain in goals. It'll be McCann, Henderson, Donaldson, and Spencer. Then it'll be Brogio, I think his name is. Then Finlay, Yates, and Stewart in the midfield. Then it'll be Tate, Lasaya, and Miller. A pretty strong team. I always look at Falkirk's bench, right? You've got guys like Adams in there, Cartwright, who's a good player. You've got Williams, who I really liked against Celtic, actually. Then obviously you've got the experienced Brian Graham that can come on, change a game. So a pretty interesting two teams. Obviously you've got Brian Graham and Johnny Russell, probably two of the oldest players left in Scotland now, to be honest with you. So we'll see if any of them come on for the game. Okay,
so that's your team for the Falkirk Dundee United game kicking off. Yeah, big weekend of football action at 8:15 tonight. Thanks to everyone. It's been on. Thanks to everybody. It's contributed on the show tonight. Thanks to all your comments. Thanks to the quizmaster Robbie. I think I have failed, and Charlie, the new boy, has won. Typically, the new school versus old school as well. So thanks for Robbie, thanks to Charlie. Brilliant to have you back on, and we hope to have you back on in the coming weeks before the end of the season. Maybe get you on when Aberdeen wins the Scottish Cup again. You never know.
Oh, absolutely. It would be my pleasure.
So thanks to Charlie, thanks to Robbie, and thanks to the quiet man that was rigging tonight. We'll be back on Sunday at 9:30 to look back in the games and look forward to the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup. So whatever game you're going to this weekend, enjoy, and we'll speak to you on Sunday at 9:30.
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.